Hey YouTube, it's Ben here with the 60-gallon Cichlid tank, and today's topic is saving time and saving money by learning from other people's, in this case me, other people's mistakes. So I'm going to give you a list of some things that I've learned the hard way, and maybe this will help you to save some money and perhaps be able to fast track some of your success with your Cichlid tank, okay? So thank you so much for tuning in, and let's get started. Hey, here's advice number one. Point number one: research your fish and make a list of fish that are both compatible and appealing to you before you start buying. When I first started getting fish, I was buying fish because they were pretty, and I ended up with quite a mix of fish, and I ended up having to rehome fish, which, when you think about it, wasted time and wasted money. And in some cases, like in the case of my yellow lab, and certainly in the case of my Venusus, I ended up having to rehome fish that I had grown quite attached to, but who simply were no longer compatible with the fish in my tank. So, and some of you might not agree with this, but if I were to go back and look at it again, I would probably, I'd probably suggest that you select a certain kind of fish, such as peacocks or a haps or a mabuna, and go with that type of fish. So that would be my first advice, is research and select a type of fish that appeals to you the most and stick with that fish, and save yourself a lot of time having to rehome and raise up fish only to have them become overly aggressive. And I mean, even when you do have them somewhat matched up, they're still aggressive. So that would be my first point. Decide the kind of fish you want and go with it. My next point would be, depending on the type of fish you select, go with the absolute largest aquarium that you can afford, even if it means holding off buying your initial aquarium. Now, I say that a little bit guarded, and I'll tell you why. I got into the hobby, and I'm very happy in the hobby, and I got into it with a 30-gallon and then started upgrading. So I don't want this to be a deterrent to keep people from getting in. Because better you get in with a small tank and build and work up from there than not get in at all. But if you can, definitely get in with a bigger tank. If you decide you want to go with haps, like this electric blue here, if you decide you want to go with haps, go with a 125 or a 180. And if you decide you want to go with peacocks, like this little otter point or the lemon jake, then go with something like a 60 or a 90. That should hold you. But go with the absolute biggest tank and make that decision based to some degree on the type of fish. That right there is a little baby sulfur head that's living under that rock. There's the otter point again. Little sulfur head that's living under the rock and peeks his head out every now and then. There he is. And if you folks remember my last video, this rock here was completely brown last week, and it has been thoroughly cleaned up by a standard pleco that I decided to bring into the tank for a little bit of algae control. So if you've ever heard anyone say that plecos will not eat brown algae, they don't know what they're talking about. This pleco has gone to town on the brown algae in my tank And you can see it's kind of a brown. In some cases I've got some burgundy, which is not actually algae, it's something else I've heard. But the pleco is going to town on it. Okay, one more recommendation. One more recommendation. Never skimp on surface agitation. For those of you who have been watching my videos, you know I'm kind of a fanatic about that now for obvious reasons. And I have some of these Zoom-Ed moving. Those are attached to the outlets of the canister filters. And you can see they create surface agitation. And then I have two of these Zoom-Ed wave makers. They create both surface agitation and tank circulation, and they have sponges attached to them for beneficial bacteria. So that can only help. So do not skimp on surface agitation, and by that what I mean is don't skip on the oxygen that you're providing to your fish, because that can be a disaster very, very quickly. All right. So get a power head right away. I waited for quite a while. I used the outlets of my canister filters as the source of surface agitation, but as we tend to do, we overstock our tanks, so we need a little more than that. So that's another little piece of advice. Definitely provide a lot of surface agitation and a lot of oxygen to your tank. And my last tip in this video is going to be this. Never get lazy with your testing. Always test and always maintain. And so run your tests and always do your routine maintenance, whether that be your water changes, your canister or filter maintenance. Always stick to a regimen that works for you, and always monitor your tests. Don't cut corners on that, because a spike in something like a nitrate, some kind of a reading that you miss, can actually end up being disastrous. So definitely test and maintain, and always do that. So here's one last bonus tip for you. Don't overstress. African cichlid keepers and other types of fish keepers too, discus keepers, South American cichlid keepers, certainly saltwater tank keepers. We can be a little obsessed and overstress, and that can take some of the joy, some of the enjoyment, and some of the relaxation that this hobby should be giving us. It can take away a little bit of that. So hey, enjoy it. Enjoy what you've got. And so I'm going to leave you with this vertical side view of the tank. You'll notice at the far end of the tank I have a big black pleco hanging on the outside. That's one of those black pleco plushies that are being offered by KG Tropicals. Tank Talk, John and Lisa Hudson. And they're offering all kinds of stuff now. They have food pellets and dried krill and other types of service, all kinds of products now. And they're expanding. I love it. So so there you have it. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. You know that. And be sure to subscribe and rate and comment. And be sure to offer any advice that you think might help. Certainly include it in the comments below. Or come on over to Ben O. Cichlid on Facebook. That's Ben O' Cichlid on Facebook. And we can start a discussion there. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch and subscribe and all that good stuff. Okay? All right. Thank you.